Welcome to another Monday Night Live at 7:45. My name is Teresa Harper, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Thank you for joining me tonight. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Okay. Let's see. That's weird. All right. Go ahead and say hi when you come on. Let me know where you're watching from. Hello, Jennifer Isom. You can't be there, Abby. Sorry.
Okay.
You're going to be right in the way.
Is that blinded or am I just blinded?
Okay.
It's a tablet.
Jennifer, is that blurry for you? No, it just cleared up on my end. So we should be good. All right. Whew. It's been a weekend, I'll tell ya. Been fighting a migraine and having a little iritis. Hello, Laura. So happy you guys are here. Well, as you can tell by the catalog, we're going to be using the penguin place today, but we are not going to be making winter cards with it. You can't have, turn that down. You can't have that on while you got to go down there. Abby's here. She's got her tablet on too loud. With her headphones. All right.
That better?
Okay, I see a couple more people have jumped on. Hello, Tracy. Hope you're having a good weekend. Well, actually, it's Monday now. It's still Ron's weekend. I'm thrown off a little bit. He changed his work schedule. Not by choice, but his work schedule now is Tuesday through Saturday. So that kind of throws me off a little bit, but we'll get used to the schedule, and that just gives him Sunday now to hang out, which was good yesterday. Hello, Mary. So glad you could join us. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Our first card is kind of detailed. Go figure that. I know it's a shock. And we're going to be using a couple of different stamp sets on it, along with some new dies that I got as a result of my BOGO sale. So we're going to use Penguin Place. We're also using Tracy's Clever Cats. Thank you for allowing me to borrow it. And then our sentiment is going to come from Well Defined. This was also one of my BOGO scores. So we're going to be using the Halloween. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll get started. Let me move this catalog out of the way. Abs. Sorry, hun. You're kind of right in the way there. That's okay. We'll work around you. All right. So we're going to start with a card base of basic gray, and this is 5.5 by 8.5. And I've scored it in the middle at 4 1/4. And let's move this out of the way till we need it, which is going to be right away. So let's not move it too far. All right, so we're going to go ahead and fold and burnish this on the score line with our bone folder. Okay, give that a good press. Let me get my frappe out of the way so I don't knock that over on my table. All right. Next, we're going to take a piece of the hand-penned Designer Series paper. This paper is a celebration freebie that you can earn with any $50 purchase. This can be one of your choices, and you get 4 each of 3 different double-sided designs. And it's all done in blacks and grays. Okay. So you can choose that, and you'll find that on page 7 of the Celebration catalog. We're going to take this, and the first thing we're going to do is we're making a Halloween card, so I wanted this to be a little bit on the eerie side. So we're going to take a little bit of the Bermuda Bay ink. By the way, I made this card for a color challenge. And the colors were Pumpkin Pie, Bermuda Bay, and Basic Gray. And then we could add neutral colors. Black, white, brown. So I just want to give my night sky a little bit of color. Give it just a little bit of an eerie feeling. I don't want much, that's it. And this piece is ready. Oh, you know what I did? I forgot to cut my piece of pumpkin pie, so let me grab that real quick. I put it away. There we go. I cleaned up right beforehand, and I had just put this away. So this layer needs to be cut at, this one, by the way, is 4 by 5 1/4, and I want this to be just 1/8 larger, so I'm going to cut it at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I just want a real thin border of the pumpkin pie. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add my Designer Series paper to my pumpkin pie layer. And I'm just going to send it, let me get this out of the way so it's not slipping around on my surface. It will also make it easier for me to center it up. Okay, that looks good. Now we can go ahead and add this. No, we cannot. We have one more thing that we need to do, and we need hang on. Where did I put? There it is. Thought I had all these pieces. Okay, we need a piece of Basic Gray. And we are going to take the hill stamp from the Penguin Place. I'm going to stamp that in Basic Gray. Let me go this way. I'm getting ink all over my block doing it the other way. Okay, and I'm just going to put this down like so. Almost too low for you guys. All right. Clean that so I don't stick anything in it. Okay, so then I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to hand cut this out. I'm just going to cut right on the very edge, the top edge of the hill. I don't want any basic gray above it of the cardstock. Okay, so now we've got that. And we can keep this piece because we can cut, die cut our owl out of it later. All right. So I'm going to take this piece, and we should have added this to here. Nope. Yeah, I should have added it before I put it on here. Oh well, we're going to fake it. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and run this all the way to the edge. And I'll be happy with that. Okay? So, how best to do this? I want this one right here. This about right here. And I'm going to put some Stampin' Seal. Seal off that end. All right. I'm going to put this down to the bottom of the DSP. I'm just going to cut that even. Well, let's cut it straight, shall we? There we go. All right, so now we have our hill. And then we can go ahead and add this to our card. Oh, that's not my Stampin' Seal. This is a very narrow border. Okay, come on, don't grab. This, hang on you guys, I gotta get this a little bit flatter so it stops popping up on me. And I am struggling here. I did not have this much trouble this morning. All right, there we go. There is our card base, and all we need to do now is decorate. So, to this, we're going to take the To the Moon stamp set again this week. We're going to stick this here, and we're going to use pale papaya ink. And I want this to be really light. And this is looking like it has some dots and things on it that I don't want there. Okay. And my ink still looks like it's good from earlier. This is a distinctive stamp set, so you don't want your stamp to be over inked. So I'm going to get most of that off. Then I'm going to put my piece of basic white in here. And I'm going to give that a good rub. And I know that it's really difficult to see because it is extremely light, but we're going to take that and die cut it. All right? And through the magic of television, there it is. So then we're going to take this piece again, and we're going to go ahead and stamp a pumpkin. And for this, we're going to get our Stampin' Pierce mat. And we're going to use Memento Black. And we're going to stamp up our pumpkin. Okay. And then we need a couple of witches' hats. So we're going to take one witch's hat. And by the way, the pumpkin's from Clever Cats. The witch's hat is from Clever Cats. And I'm going to do the hats again just like I did last week. But we're going to save some time because I've already done it. Okay, so you need a black hat. And then you would clean this. And you're going to get a Bermuda Bay hat. And actually, I told you wrong. I didn't do black hats. I did basic gray hats. Because, of course, the colors were Bermuda Bay, basic gray, and pumpkin pie. Okay, so if you didn't want to fuss, you could just do your hats just like this. You don't have to fuss with them. In fact, let's see. I'll go ahead and do these up just like they are, but I'm going to do this in the right color. And then I'll show you the difference. All right, where'd my hat go? Let's do a basic gray. Okay. Oh, I'll have to go ahead and fussy cut those if I show you the difference. So, all right, so we're going to take our pumpkin. Oh, we need one more stamp in Bermuda Bay. And we're going to take the little, I'm using it for a bag. I suppose you could make this into an ornament and have this be the ornament top. But I'm going to use it for a little trick-or-treat bag. Okay, so those are the pieces that we need to stamp. Besides, we will need a, I'm going to go ahead and cut this because I need a sentiment strip. And I don't want to waste my paper. So I'm just going to go ahead and slice this. Then I'm going to take my pumpkin pie. And I'm going to use the Halloween, but I only want the Halloween part. So you can mask this off so as not to get the bottom part of the words, which let's go ahead and do that just because it'll be faster if I do. Okay, so we're just going to mask that off with a little bit of Post-it tape, just in case I get it at the very top. But if you weren't masking it, you can just put your stamp, this part of your stamp, at the edge of your stamp pad and ink it up. And then just look to make sure that you've got it well inked. In this case, we're going to pull the tape off, which we didn't need. And then I'm going to put this right down at the bottom of my cardstock and press that down. Okay? So now we have our sentiment. so let's go ahead and we'll color our pumpkin. We're going to color our pumpkin with light and dark pumpkin pie. So I'm going to start with the light. Hello, Sharon. Oh, thank you, Tracy. Okay, I'm going to give this a quick wash of the light pumpkin. Then I'm going to go back with the dark. And I'm going to put in some shadows here. And then I'm going to go back with my light. And I'm going to blend that all out. All right. Okay, now unfortunately, all of these pieces need to be fussy cut. So I'm going to show you how I fussy cut the package. The package is pretty simple, or it can be pretty simple, I should say. Or the bag, not the package. Just going to go around that handle. And the rest of the bag is pretty straight cuts. Okay, now you could leave this just like this, but I could not because I didn't like that white in the handle because I want to put the handle on my penguins. So I'm going to take and I'm going to grab a Post-it note to make a handle because it is very small. And I'm going to put that at the bottom of my bag. Then I'm going to take my 1/8 inch punch, hand punch, and I'm going to punch twice. And that will get most of the inside. And I'm holding up on this little bar so it doesn't hook my paper and tear it. Okay? Then I'm going to go back in and I'm just going to trim this up a bit. I'm going to get a little bit more of that white out. And it looks like I broke my handle cutting too close, which is fine. Won't matter. Once I glue it on, you won't even notice. Okay? All right, so we can set that aside. Then we can cut out, we'll hand cut out our 2 hats and our pumpkin. I'm just going to do this really quick because I was going to show you the difference between how I did the hats last week and if you just leave it, what the difference is, what it will look like. And then you can decide how you want to do it. Notice I'm turning the paper, not my scissors. And they do cut out fairly quickly. Okay, there's one. Here's two. You guys, I gave my cat a bath. Well, Caitlin and Josh gave our cat a bath today, and the poor thing is wore out from the trauma. I like it when they do the bathing because then I'm the good guy. All I do is swoop in with the towel and snuggle him afterwards. And then spoil him with treats. But he should not have, he had a couple of fleas and I had to make sure I got rid of those right away. All right, so there's our hats. And the pumpkin I already have cut. So with the sentiment now, I'm just gonna take this, I'm gonna cut this off. And then I'm gonna put this in my mini trimmer. And I'm going to pull this up and give it a good, okay. So there's our sentiment. And now I'm just going to take and angle cut this. And there we have it. So our sentiment is ready to go. All right, so now we need some basic black scrap, which of course I put all of that stuff away. Why did I do that? I don't know why I did that. Right before we went live. Okay, so you'll need a scrap of black. And a scrap of white. And we're going to take our penguin punch. Which should be right in front of my face.
What?
My penguin punch, Abby.
Penguin?
Yeah, it was right here. Oh my goodness, you guys. Apparently I'm a hot mess and I just can't see my penguin punch. Oh. Silly me, I put it in the other bin. Okay, sorry about that.
Oh no.
Clean up that piece of white. I'm going to take the basic white and my penguin punch, and I'm just going to punch this little piece that's the body. And then I'm going to put my basic black in. And I'm going to punch out this piece. And then from my scrap of orange, or my pumpkin pie, I need 2 feet. Okay. So you can do your feet this way, or there is a stamp where you can actually stamp on your feet. And you can do them all at once. I did my first card with stamped feet, and this time I'm going to go ahead and punch them. Okay, before we put this together, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the face on. And I'm going to start with Bermuda Bay for the eyes, because remember, this is a color challenge. And I'm putting in the eyes, and I'm going to put them at the top. of this little piece. Okay? Then I'm gonna get my pumpkin pie. And I'm gonna grab his nose. This little beak. I'm going to ink that up in pumpkin pie, and I'm going to stamp it right at the edge of the die cut there in the middle, just like so. All right, now my little penguin needs some blush on her cheeks. So I'm going to take a little bit of Flirty Flamingo. I'm just going to put that in like so. And now I can add this piece of the body. To the black. Just going to put this on just like so. Okay, I'm going to close up this ink pad before I put my hands in it. I'm going to take a little bit of liquid glue here. And I'm going to put the one foot here. And take another drop of glue and the other foot, and I'm going to put it right here. All right, and there's our little penguin. Cute. All right. Now, let's put our hats on. We can start assembling this. With the frightful tag dies, you're going to cut out of your scrap of basic gray that you had left over. You're going to cut an owl. And out of a scrap of black, which this piece wasn't big enough, but you would take a piece that's big enough and cut a tree. Okay, you need those two pieces. And then we can start putting our card together. We're going to take this little piece of scrap that we had left, and we are going to get a little bit of light Daffodil Delight, and I'm just going to take the brush tip end and I'm just going to scribble an area like so. Okay. And then I'm going to grab my owl that I've die cut. Okay. And I'm going to put that down, and I'm going to see that I made my piece large enough. And then I'm just going to take this and hand cut it. It doesn't matter how pretty it is. It just needs to fit on the back of your owl and not be too large. But be big enough. So we're just going to put that like that. So I'm going to take my owl and I'm going to dab on a little bit of liquid glue around the eyes and the nose, just to hold this piece on. I'm going to turn that over so that the Daffodil Delight is showing through. And now our little owl has eyes. Okay. All right. Okay, there's our tree. Here's our two little hats. Here's our pumpkin. And we have all of our pieces. Okay. So we're going to start by putting our moon up here. Gonna put our tree here. Let's go ahead and glue this down. About like so. And I'm going to take the tree and I'm going to leave the branches free for the most part. Okay. And I'm going to put this about right here. I'm going to take my owl and I'm going to get a mini dimensional. I'm going to put a mini dimensional at his head. And I'm just going to put a little bit of liquid glue at the bottom. I want him to look like he's sitting in the tree branch. So I'm just going to take him and slide him in like so. I'll hold that for a minute just for that to grab. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to add a Bermuda Bay hat to our pumpkin. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue along the bottom. And put these together, just like so. And then we're going to get a couple more mini glue dots because I want them to be a little bit lower profile. And I'm going to put one right where those go together. And again, I'm going to put some glue at the bottom. Okay. And then we're going to put our little pumpkin right here. Okay. Now we're going to take our little penguin here. We're going to add a hat to our penguin. And again, we're going to use the liquid glue at the bottom. And some minis and a mini at the top. And I better put on two just to be safe there. All right, so we're going to put those on. I'm going to add this hat. And then I'm going to put my little penguin right here. Put that on. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I didn't put any glue on my penguin itself. Okay. There we are. Now we're going to take our little bag. We're going to put a glue dot on here. And the reason that we're using a glue dot is I want to give it a little bit of lift, but I don't want it to have too much lift. And then I'm just going to pick up his arm a little bit. Slide that up under his hand, just like that. And then it will look like he is holding his trick-or-treat bag. Okay, and then our final step for the outside of this card is to add our sentiment. So again, I'm going to use some glue dots on the right side. And then I'm just going to put some liquid glue on the left side, and that will compensate and balance for it being off the moon. All right, there's the front of our card, finished. I hope you like that. Okay, for the inside of our card, we have, I did up another pumpkin, but this time I used the black glitter paper, and I'm just going to glue my pumpkin along the bottom of the DSP strip that matches. We're just going to put this here. And then we're going to add this to the inside of our card. All right, so we have Halloween. When taking candy from strangers is good and dressing normally is strange. I hope you like that. And for my envelope, I stamped that pumpkin, and then I put the matching DSP on the back. I'm going to show you a quick tip for this pumpkin on how I did this, because I did it a little differently than I did the front, because I didn't want to color the pumpkin. So I took the pumpkin pie ink, and I inked that up. And then I took the pale papaya ink and I inked that up, and I stamped this sentiment, or this inside piece of the pumpkin will not fill it in. So I stamped it as far to the right as I could and still stay in the lines, okay? Now you can see the white that's left around there. So now I'm going to take my light pale papaya marker, Stampin' Blend, and I'm just going to brush on a little bit of pale papaya around that outside edge, which will make it look like there's just a bit of shading. And now our pumpkin's filled in. Okay, not my idea. I saw that from someone else. All right, so there's our first project. Let's go ahead and get cleaned up. Our second project, hopefully, will be quick. I don't think I need any of those supplies for the next project. So let's get these out of the way. Throw these up here so they're not in my way. We will need the eyes And the feet, though, for my penguin. All right. Okay, so next project. The next project is a 3D project. And it coordinates. Oh man, I messed you guys all up. Hope you're okay there. All right. Let's see. I'm going to refresh my screen in case I've missed some comments because it looks like I'm not getting anything here. So let me see what I've got now. There we go. Now I've got comments again. Thank you. Thanks, guys. I'm glad you like that. Oh, yeah. I can't wait for the pumpkin pie cheesecake either, ladies. All right. Now, this silly FB, they just do not want to refresh your things for you. All right. So for our next, here are the, let me see if I can get those in the screen. This is your screenshot for your, if you want to screenshot the instructions, let me get those up a little higher for you. For some reason, I'm way, okay, I'm going to move this. See if that helps me some. Sorry, hope I didn't make anybody sick. There you go, now take a screenshot if you want the instructions. Good to go. All right. No, you can't take that away, Abby. I need those supplies. Okay, so we're going to start with 2 pieces of rich raspberry cardstock. I've already done the die cutting for this for the most part. Okay, so I'm going to move those instructions out of the way, and I'm going to bring in my Simply Scored tool. Whoa, and I moved you again. Okay, whew, you guys. This is what happens when you have a migraine all weekend and you have to take prescription medication to get rid of it. Then you're just kind of a mess. All right. So this piece is the matchbook cover piece, and this is 2 3/4 by 7 3/8. Okay, and we are going to score this at 3, 3.5, and 6 3/4. Okay, then we're going to take a second piece of rich raspberry, and by the way, you can get both of these pieces out of a half a sheet of cardstock if you cut it at in the middle at 5.5 on the 11-inch side. Okay, and then you'll still have some leftovers. So this piece is cut at 2 3/8 by 5 3/4, and we're going to score this at 1/2 inch or at 1/4 inch. You can't see. Let me bring this down. 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch. Oops, come on, stay in the track. And 3/4 of an inch. Then we're going to score again at 3, 3 1/4, and 3.5. And that is all the scoring. Okay? Move that out of the way. Go ahead and burnish our score lines. Okay. Now this is the front of our matchbook cover. So we're going to take a piece of designer series paper, and this is again from the hand pinned. And this piece is cut at 2 5/8, 2 5/8 by 2 7/8. If you have a directional design, you want to make sure it's in portrait. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and add this to our cover. Like so. And then we're going to set this aside. And we're going to work on our inside pocket. So these, you got 2 sets of 3 scores here. So you're going to fold the farthest score of the 3, mountain. The closest score to you is also going to be mountain. And then the middle score, you're going to flip and you're going to score it in the opposite direction, valley. And I find it easier with these scores so close if I run my bow folder along there as I'm trying to fold. It just helps the paper go better. Okay, so when you're done, then you're going to have an accordion fold. Okay, and you're going to repeat that on the other 3 sets of scores. So we're going to do mountain on the 2 outside scores, and then we're going to flip it over and we're going to do a valley on the middle. Does that make sense? All right. So now we have that accordion fold. All right. So I'm going to burnish this down. And then I'm going to take a, you could use tear and tape. It'll be a little wide and then you'll just have to roll it back onto itself. Or I'm just going to save myself the hassle. And I'm going to put some liquid glue along there. Fold that over to meet. And burnish it down. Okay. Now, I'm going to consider this side now the back of my pocket. So I'm going to flip that over. And I'm going to put my designer series paper on this other side. This piece of designer series paper is cut at 2 1/8 by 2 1/4. Okay. So we'll add that to our pocket. And we'll give that a good press. Okay. Then this is ready to add to our matchbook. Okay, you guys, I am a little anal, in case you didn't know that about me. What happened to my thing, Abby? Oh, here it is. Or here's one. Okay, so I'm going to take and I'm going to line this up here, and I'm going to use the 4-inch mark. If you have your centering ruler or your bigger grid paper that has the centering ruler at the top, you could use this. You could use that, but this is me. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to center it up here. Okay, as best I can between those lines. And then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to mark it right there. Okay. Then I'm going to add my pocket piece in here. And I'm going to center that up as best I can. And I'm going to put that down in the pocket to the score line. And then where this pencil mark is, I'm going to go 1/4 of an inch up approximately. And I'm going to staple. And that just puts my staple in the middle. You don't have to do that. If you don't care, it doesn't matter. It's not going to show anyway, because we are going to add a piece of designer series paper to the front of this. And I'm going to add it this way because this is how I cut it. This time I'm going to use liquid glue. So I want this piece to really stick over that staple. And I am going to add some liquid glue right over that staple. And then I'm going to add this on. Okay. And then I'm going to give that a press and hold it for just a minute until it adheres. All right. So this is basically our matchbook, and now all we have to do is decorate. Okay? So this time I'm going to take my black glitter paper. This is in the mini catalog. It carried over from last holiday catalog. And I am going to punch a penguin body. All right. Then I'm going to grab myself a scrap of Whisper White, or Basic White again, and my punch. And I'm going to punch the body. And this time I'm going to use Calypso Coral and Basic Black. Okay, so we're going to get those eyes and the beak. I keep track of these teeny tiny little stamps. And I'm going to do his eyes in black. And again, I'm going to put those near the top. I'm going to get his beak. And I'm going to put that down. And this time, I'm going to grab his two little feet. And I'm going to stamp those in the Calypso Coral as well. I'm going to put those right down. I'm going to get that off of the white so I can really see the contrast. Put his feet on. Okay? And I'm going to grab that Flirty Flamingo. Stamp and blend. Put a little color on the cheek. Whoa. And we're going to add this to our penguin body. And there we are. Okay, so from the Frightfully Cute, or from the Frightful Tags dies, again, I cut the tree, and I cut the witch's hat, and I cut that in rich raspberry, scrap of rich raspberry. And then this set also has these real teeny tiny little stars. It cuts about 7, and you'll want to put those in on your on a piece of Basic White. And it looks like I've spilt my stars. And then we're going to add these to our matchbook cover. Okay. So again, I'm gonna get my liquid glue for my tree. You could cut this tree with the adhesive sheets. And then you wouldn't have to do this. Because it would already be a sticker. And I'm going to put that just over to the left. So it's still on the designer series paper, but above the matchbook. Okay, then I'm going to add my penguin. Right there. And then what happened to my witch's hat? Oh, still in the envelope. Okay, so this is how the witch's hat looks. And you know me. It's fabulous, but let's make it even more so. I'm going to take my light basic black and I'm going to just fill in along the embossing lines and in the very center of the hat buckle, just to add a little bit of character. And then we're going to take a glue dot if I can figure out where I piled things on top of them. We're going to roll that glue dot up, and then I'm going to take my witch's hat and put that in the center. I'm going to take another glue dot and I'm going to put it in the middle of the hat. And then I'm going to stick this on the penguin's head, and yes, it will stick up over the top, but oh my gosh, isn't that cute? Okay, so now we just have our sentiment, and this one is finished. So for our sentiment, we are taking You're So Sweet It's Scary, and that's from the Frightfully Cute stamp set, and you can purchase the Frightfully Cute and the Frightful Tags dies in a bundle if you wish. But really, if you don't care for the stamp set or you don't think you need it, the Frightful Tags dies are wonderful accents all on their own. Okay, you get 3 labels in here, a circle, and then you get all of these other little Halloween pieces. All right. So we're going to take the You're So Sweet It's Scary, and we're going to hope this piece is big enough. And I'm going to take the Calypso Coral ink again. And I'm going to stamp this right here. And then I'm going to take this rectangle die from the Beautiful Trees. Is that what it is? Oh my goodness. It's the tree dies that go with Beauty of Friendship. I think they're called Beautiful Trees. They're in the annual catalog. Okay, so we're going to take our mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss. I'm going to run this through. And the way to line this up, I've found, is if you line up the top of the sentiment straight, then it will cut straight. Okay, get a little piece of Post-it tape. Line that up as straight as we can. Press that down. Put our top plate on. Run that through. And then there is our sentiment. Okay, let's put that die on the magnet so it doesn't get lost. And then we can just take and add this to the front of our matchbook. Okay, so now what fits in here? You can put a Ghirardelli square in here. It will fit like so. Okay, so you can use Ghirardelli squares, or, oh, hang on, we didn't add our stars. The other thing that you can put is some little cream things, hard candies, or it's getting on to cold season, so you could put a couple of Ricolas in there, and those would fit too if you needed to get well treat. Okay, so with our little stars then, we're going to take, I'm just gonna, the way I put mine on was I just dabbed some glue here. I'm just gonna go, a little dab will do ya, you don't need much. And then we're gonna go over here, go over here. All right, and then I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool. If you don't have one of these tools, you need them. And you can find this on page 151 of the annual catalog. So I'm going to put the bigger star here. I'm going to grab this other star over here. And then I'm going to take one of these smaller stars and I'm going to put it over here. And remember, it will take a minute to grab. Just press it down. All right. So there we are. There are our projects. Okay, so let me bring back in the first one. And we will get this out of our way. Where's my other card that I made, Abs? Right here. Okay. So there you have our projects for tonight. I hope you enjoyed those. Hello, Irene. Mrs. Glick, welcome, welcome. All right, thank you, Mary. Appreciate all that. So glad that you liked it. And I will be back next Monday at 7:45. I realize that it's Labor Day, but it's okay. We're going to come back if you all have the time, and we're going to stamp again. So we'll see you again next Monday. Until then, have a fabulous week, everybody. Stay healthy, stay happy, and make sure you stamp something. Good night.